care moment. Hello, Michelle Nunn. Good evening from Care Bangladesh. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you all. I'm so delighted. I'm so delighted to be with you.
Thank you for
virtually.
coming. We are thrilled and delighted to have you.
I am most excited to be with you virtually, and it would just only be better if I could transport myself to be with you. I can see the level of energy just even from thousands of miles away, and I'm just really grateful to be able to be a part of the celebration with you. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Wave to me if you can hear me well. Okay,
Can
good.
you hear? Say it again.
I can. Yes, I can hear you and I can see you, and it's just so nice to be able to do both. I know maybe I'm a few minutes early, but I don't want to interrupt the programming, so I'm happy to just listen in until it's my turn.
You are always welcome, Michelle. And I would like to hand over microphone to our country director, Ramji, to facilitate this session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hello, Michelle.
Hello. Hello.
Colleagues, I take a lot of pride in welcoming our dearest Michelle Nunn, CEO and President, to be here with us today. Thank you, Michelle, for making time for us. We are indeed grateful.
I am so grateful. I'm only a little worried that I might be a giant presence on your screen. That's making me a little nervous.
Michelle, as you know, this year we are celebrating 75 years of CARE's service for the people in Bangladesh. So that is one landmark event which we are flagging off today. And the second one is we are arranging a country office strategy roadshow across the length and breadth of the country in all the regions, starting from Dhaka here. So the roadshow starts later today, and all of us are interested to hear from you and to officially flag off the 75 years of celebration, with the main events being in October later, and also flagging off the strategy roadshow of the country. So we'll look forward to hearing to your inspirational talk, Michelle. From now, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. It's so, as I said, so nice to be with you. And I think we all recognize that in a time that there are so many challenges and so many humanitarian crises, and there's a lot to worry about in the world. And so I think taking these moments to celebrate, to highlight, to commemorate, to also recharge, to reimagine our future is all the more important. And so I am so glad that you are both celebrating the 75 years of contribution and of transformation that you all have been a part of through Care Bangladesh. And also, I'm also so glad that you're starting this roadshow, because it's both a moment in which I think you're building upon your history, but also imagining the future. And Care Bangladesh has always been at the heart of CARE's global impact and the creative energy and also, I think, strategic way in which you have led the work is very much front and center always for CARE, and will continue to be. So I am eager to see the work that you all are creating and making possible now. And also, I know that you're leading the future for CARE's vision and strategy going forward. So I just want to say a few words to you all. and speak about the what I think is, an incredible privilege that we all have, which is to be a part of this innovative, dynamic network that we call CARE, fighting poverty and saving lives. And we, as you all know, in terms of our strategy, have said there are sort of 3 pillars, and each of those pillars, I really think that the CARE Bangladesh is leading the way. So, and they are connected. So gender equal. I often think back on my visit to Bangladesh, and I think about driving in Bangladesh and being driven by our CARE women drivers. And I think about also looking around and seeing other women drivers and knowing that CARE was sort of the very first organization to employ women drivers, to train them, and how that relatively small innovation then spread much farther. And I think that's so much at the heart of CARE's work. So, I just think that metaphorically that image of how we are putting women in the driver's seats, we're doing it in Bangladesh, and you all are doing it in so many different ways, through actually, if you think about it, food systems and entrepreneurship and health workers. And so it's really exciting to think about how you're going to continue to do that. And I eagerly await the stories that are a part of our future in CARE Bangladesh about putting women in the driver's seat. The second of our pillars, as you all know, is locally led. And I think you all know this. It is not just being partners of choice with local organizations. It's really just this idea of creating new networks of possibility. When I think about that, I think about our savings group model that you all have been so much a part of, and taking that model and then turning it into policy change, public-private partnerships that are transforming the possibilities of, for instance, commercial access to savings for women throughout Bangladesh. And that's part of being a broader network. And then that connects to this third pillar, which is scaled. When we say globally scaled, but when I think about scale, there is really no place that CARE operates where I think we have achieved more effective models for scaling than in Bangladesh. And I think about Suharto, and I think about the work that has enabled us to do, again, spreading and scaling policy change, nutritional policy ways of working that now the government employs across the country. And again, that idea of taking things that are working and then turning that into truly, ways in which an entire country, and then that can spread to other countries, and we really start to get at the threshold of change that the world needs and expects and deserves of organizations and players like CARE. So when I think about those 3 pillars, I think, Ram, as you and I had the chance when we were together to discuss, and Ramesh, it's so good to see you as well. I know your extraordinary legacy is so much a part of this, the set of ideas that you are now road showing in your strategy are very much at the forefront, I would say, the tip of the spear in terms of CARE's overall strategy. So gender equal, locally led, and truly scaled is what I know that you are going to be making possible in Bangladesh, and therefore creating a model for CARE globally. I know that when I think about, and I hope that you all feel this when you are together today, and as you look around the room, you all are a part of a community that is 75 years in the making, and we all stand. I know you all can all think about people from CARE Bangladesh, some of whom are not even with us now, some of whom are but still with us both in spirit and in terms of their legacy, and we now stand upon their shoulders. And so we have this opportunity before us to take this platform and to take it to the next level, and that means literally the capacity together to change millions of people's lives, and truly over time hundreds of millions of people's lives into the future. So I hope that you all feel that privilege. I hope you feel that sense of the power of the legacy that we all represent. I know that when I think about Bangladesh and Care Bangladesh's work, you all are at one of the very largest country offices in CARE's constellation of organizations. You're reaching over 5 million people. You're really on a transformational journey. I'm very excited about the vision that Ram and I have discussed, everything from public-private partnerships to new networks to innovation. And I think, again, and from the advocacy perspective, there are so many examples where I can take the lessons of Care Bangladesh, and it's what I tell when I tell the story of care. When I think about this is what it means to take a program to demonstrate its effectiveness, but then to work with governmental partners and to see that it actually can affect millions more people after the program is closed and is done. And so when I think about, CARE's future in terms of climate justice, in terms of the work that we have around digital inclusion, I think about the government's, Smart Bangladesh initiative. There is so much opportunity for you all ahead. And I just know that your kind of energy, your enthusiasm, your dedication is very much at the heart of when I think about what makes CARE the powerful force that it is in the world. And I mean, maybe just to close, I would just say, I often think back upon my visit to CARE Bangladesh, and in the country office sort of headquarters, there is a wall that sort of traces the historical milestones of CARE Bangladesh. And I think about each one of those milestones, and I think about what that has meant in terms of the transformation of communities, of lives, and ultimately of generations of change making. And it really gives me great inspiration to think about that you all will now be the authors of the next chapter of that wall, that metaphorical wall that will continue to grow, and that you all are, again, having the opportunity to create together. So I hope that this moment of looking back gives you the energy, the aspiration for taking the future forward, and not just the future forward for Bangladesh, but the future forward for CARE. So thank you all for all that you do, and for continuing to inspire us all.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, for your usual inspirational, thoughts. Probably it is appropriate to say that, your speech is being heard by the entire CARE Bangladesh staff physically in this room, and also connecting virtually from different parts of the country in different regions. So 600 plus colleagues are listening to you today. And as also online is our beloved regional director, Ramesh Singh, is also online. He spoke to us just a few minutes before you did. He's also with us today. So Michelle, as there are a few questions from colleagues, they're interested to ask you and take your advice on that. And I'll pass on the mic to Nusrat to facilitate that session. A few questions for us, if you can take about 4 to 5 questions. Is that all right?
Yes, I'm so happy to be in that dialogue with you.
Thank you, Michelle. Nusrat, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ramji. I am very thrilled to be conducting this session. Hi, Michelle. I'm Nusrat Daud, and I'm the team leader for Strategic Communications Unit for CARE Bangladesh. So with your permission, I'll begin reflecting with our colleagues. I'm sure you understand that this is an exclusive moment for the country office, and everyone has something or the other to say. And while we would love to hear from everyone, but we have just picked a few of our colleagues. So first of all, I'd like to invite from our procurement team, Farhana Kabir. Farhana, please ask your question to Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Very nice to meet with you. Good evening. Michelle, I have just two questions to you. What is your vision for Care Bangladesh, and what Care Bangladesh can do make you and Global Care proud?
Oh, thank you for that question. And you all have made us proud for 75 years, and we know that that will continue. I think that I have such a big vision for you all, because I know that you have such a big vision for your own work, and I know that you see that outlined in the strategy. And so, you know, as I mentioned, I think that you at Care Bangladesh are very much at the forefront of these three pillars of gender equal, locally led, globally scaled. And so my hope for Care Bangladesh is that you will continue in the spirit of Suharto and so many initiatives that have not only been, I think, true hallmarks of Care Bangladesh's impact, but also have gone on to influence care at large around the world, and also the broader development sector. So I hope that you all will see yourselves as sort of at the very forefront of innovation. I hope that you will be thinking about digital innovation, because I think that that is such an opportunity for Bangladesh. I hope that you'll be thinking about how to utilize AI in new ways. I hope that you will, and from a development perspective, I hope that you will think about what does it mean to not only work with local organizations, but to create what I might call constellations of local networks. So imagine the, you know, hundreds of thousands and millions, for instance, of women connected to one another through our savings programs, through our farmer field and business schools, through cooperatives of entrepreneurship, and think about what it might mean if we really enabled them to work together as civic leaders to take on community-led development in a broader sense. You know, so those are the kinds of visions that I have. I also think you all are in a really powerful place to think about public-private partnerships. If you think about BRAC and so many other organizations in Bangladesh that have led the way from a development perspective around showing what it means for sustainable development, for using market-based approaches, for really, and we've seen so many examples of that coming from Living Blue, a whole host of organizations from Bangladesh. I hope that you'll continue to really be innovative in that way, creative, and really also think not just what have we done in the past from a development perspective, but really what does it look like to reimagine the future around the scale and impact that is required in the world to really keep pace with challenges like climate change, to keep pace with the extraordinary nature of rising levels of humanitarian crisis precipitated by weather, et cetera. You all are doing that resiliency work. You're at the front of also taking development and humanitarian, that nexus. I mean, I think that's also a real opportunity for contribution and leadership from Bangladesh. So, so you can see that I have really big expectations and hopes for the Care Bangladesh team. And I would just summarize it by saying that I believe that you all will be at the forefront of writing the history, not only for Care Bangladesh, but also for the country of Bangladesh at large. I think you will influence the history of Bangladesh, and that's my hope and expectation. And along that journey, you will absolutely influence and spread creative solutions that will contribute to the world's history as well.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you, Farnapa, and thank you, Michelle, for such inspiring words. Next, we want to hear from Mrityunjoy Das, our Deputy Director from Humanitarian and Climate Action Team. Joyda?
Hello. Hello, Michelle. Can you hear me?
I can.
So I'm known as Joy, actually. Mrityunjoy is a very difficult name to pronounce for you. You can call me Joy. So my question to you is how CARE is positioning itself and taking seats in global decision-making platforms that are relevant to our work. If you could reflect on my question, please.
Yes, thank you, Joy. I'm really proud of the work that CARE is doing, and often overwhelmed by all of the ways in which I see our colleagues around the world who are influencing change. So, I think that starts at first of all, at country office level and what I would call, CARE member partner level. So I think we are influencing in so many ways our governments, and that has different implications in different countries. So I know in Bangladesh, for instance, the recent win that you all had about changing the nature of the way that the Bangladesh Bank is loaning to women. So that's an example. If I think about the U.S. government example, CARE is engaging in conversations and working with partners to influence what was a $9 billion additional investment in humanitarian assistance that just was included in the most recent passage of a legislation here in the U.S. I was just talking to our colleagues in the Netherlands. They're talking to the Prime Minister on a regular basis about everything from climate policy to influencing the nature of humanitarian work in terms of investments. So at a national government level, I think that is probably the focal point of our collective advocacy in various different places and capitals around the world. And certainly, if you think about the current political crisis from Sudan to Gaza, we are playing a meaningful role in influencing that. I'm working with a group of our CEOs, fellow CEOs, meeting regularly with people at the highest level of the U.S. administration, the Secretary of State, the head of the National Security Council, trying to influence in some ways, again, issues in Gaza, issues in Sudan, issues in places like Haiti as well. And then we are very much in the conversations throughout the various different bodies within the UN. And you all know that we're doing that in so many different ways. And then you have regional engagement. So I know that Ramesh could speak to all of the different ways that from a regional advocacy perspective that we're trying to create change. And so I think that CARE has tentacles and I think one of the things that makes us so powerful is that we are a group of actors in over 109 different countries that are working in our own countries, but also to create a sort of broader set of advocacy agendas that will help create change. So one specific example of that is that we're launching over the last weeks, we've launched something called She Heals the World, which is focused on the 10 million community health worker deficit that we anticipate by 2030. And you all have been very much at the heart of imagining. I actually, when I was in Bangladesh, went to visit some of your community health worker programs. And so thinking about what is it going to take for us to do that work, not only by exemplifying what it means in Bangladesh, but also by influencing global policy, global investment from players from WHO to Gavi to UNICEF. So I think we can be really proud of that. But the work that you all are doing at Bangladesh, not only influencing policy, but also creating programmatic innovation and then being able to measure that and to document that is at the heart of our capacity to influence players around the world.
Thanks very much, Michelle.
Thank you, Jada, for your question. Next, from the Research Mobilization team, we have Fatima Appa.
Hi, Michelle. My name is
Hi.
I'm working at CARE as the Program Development Coordinator. So my question is that CARE has over 70 years of experience with huge bandwidth. What are your plans to bid for big bets? Thank you.
Yes, such a good question. And I love the idea of these big bets, and I think we need to be really zeroing in on what they are. And I will say that I would say a very high number of those big bets that I think that CARE has created and generated over the years have come from Bangladesh, and I know that that will continue to be true. So from my perspective, a couple of the big bets that we're currently undertaking, one is, if you think about the savings group model that started with just 20 women in Niger and has now reached over 20 million in just in CARE's universe. That's not even counting many that have been influenced outside of our work. And our big bet is now to get to 60 million. And I think, again, Bangladesh, I think, is helping to lead the way around what that looks like. And that 60 million will be hopefully rippling out, because that includes organic growth. That also includes the kind of capacity that you all are enabling for women that are a part of savings groups to be able to accelerate their entrepreneurship through access to commercial banking. So if you think about how many women are unbanked in the world, and then you think, what if CARE could get to 60 to 100 million of them over the next 10 years? That starts to change the whole ecosystem of what's possible for women, and especially those women that are too often marginalized from an economic perspective. And so so I think that's one big bet. Another big bet is our farmer field and business school work, and the capacity to work with 20 to 25% of women smallholder farmers around the world, and giving them equal access, which we know if women had equal access, we could feed 150 million more people in the world. So that work around farmer field and business school, where we hope to reach over 25 million women smallholder farmers, I think is another big bet and a really exciting one. I mentioned the She Heals the World initiative, which is about community health workers. All of these are about how do you take populations of women to support and transform the possibilities for them, whether they're healthcare workers, smallholder farmers, small entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs. And ultimately, I think that there are a set of big bets that I hope that are in the making, that you all will help us to create, that we can build upon. So what is it that we will be taking in 20 more years when we're celebrating our, or 25 more years, our 100th anniversary in Bangladesh? What are the things that you all are doing right now that will have been the planting the seeds for the big bets of the future? And I really am very excited and energized by what that could mean, because I think we have such big challenges ahead of us, but we also have really important and big tools, again, like digital technology, like AI, like constellations and networks of community change agents, that if we weave these possibilities together in new ways, including with private sector actors, I think there's a transformational set of possibilities that are before us. And I guess I will say that my hope and my job is to make sure that I'm helping support those seedlings that you all are creating, and then that we're also finding new ways of resourcing those, which is what's often one of the problems. How do we create the financing? And I think that more private sector partnership is a part of the answer for how do we finance those big bets in the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Fatima Appa. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much.
Next, I'll invite Ronak Appa, Ronak Jahan, our Director of Women and Girls Youth Empowerment Group.
Hi, Michelle. So good to hear from you. I'm Ronak, working in CARE Bangladesh as Director of Women and Youth Empowerment Program. So my question to you is, what X factor is needed personally and professionally, being a woman, to become a CEO of an organization like CARE?
Say the very first part of your question one more time, if you could. What
X factor is needed, being a woman, personally and professionally, to become a CEO of CARE?
Oh, well, I hope that I know that there are a number of future CEOs in this audience. And I'm holding the seat for you, ready for the future CEOs of care, which I hope will come from places like Bangladesh and Ghana and Sri Lanka, and I know that that will be the case. And I think you all, so many of you already have the ingredients of the special X factor that I think will propel you to, whether you're CEOs of Care Bangladesh, whether you're CEOs of Care USA, whether you're future CEOs of other organizations. So I think that the biggest a couple of the biggest things that I would say is just keep big ideas and be aspirational in terms of be bold around your vision, not only for yourselves but for the work that you're doing, and be willing to take some risks, which is always hard. I am constantly having to, I would say, face into my own fears, and sometimes I do it less well and sometimes a little bit better, but being willing to take risk, which means I think enduring failure as well. And I think sometimes also that fear of failure can mean, fear of maybe people not liking you, or feeling like, oh, I want to meet everybody's approval, which is impossible as a leader to always have everybody's approval at all times. So that's a part of taking risks and being willing to risk failure, which is hard, I think, certainly for me, and I think for all of us, actually. I think trying to making sure that you're finding some ways. I think there's no perfect balance in any of our lives in terms of our families and our commitments to community and our commitments to work, but I do think it's incumbent upon us as women to also seek to model new ways of operating in the world. And I think that does mean making sure that we recognize that part of healthy organizations and institutions means healthy individuals who also have the capacity to take care of themselves, and to find some equilibrium in terms of their roles as caretakers within their own families, caretakers within their communities, and leaders within their organizations. And then I guess, the most important thing is just to believe in yourself and be willing to stand and say, I'm ready. I say so often, one of the things that I see with women, and I certainly see it in terms of women running for political office, whereas sometimes I see men sort of like, I'll step into that role and run for office, and women saying, well, I don't think I'm ready, I'm not sure. And so I think be willing to step into the breach, and you're ready. You're more powerful than you know, and and then lastly is connect with one another, both women and men, mentors and supporters, so that you have a group of people that are standing in solidarity with you to support your own leadership journey, and you doing the same for others as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronakapa, for asking that question on all of our behalf. Next, I'll invite Zahra Rahim, our director for...
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Hi, so lovely to have you with us on our momentous celebration. I have a little bit of a long question, and I have it written down, so if you'll bear with me.
Of course.
Okay, so we know that the work that CARE does is only possible due to the lifeblood of our organization, which is our employees. We invest in training, we invest in development, capacity building, to kind of create a fit-for-purpose workforce. But then most of our staffing at the end of the day is aligned to project tenures, which means that there is a brain drain, there is a loss of institutional knowledge down the line. So what is the thinking centrally in terms of kind of having a vision for talent retention, and just retaining the fantastic staffing that we have? Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'd love to, and I wish that I could be in a room with you all and ask you to give me your answers for these questions as well, because I think we're all working on these together, and there's, you know, I certainly don't have any magic answers to that incredibly important question of, as you say, the heart of care's, if I think about what is at the heart of care's history, of our future, of our success, it's care's leadership. And I say that meaning every single team member of care. And so, you know, a couple of things I would say is one, that that I do think we need to continue to find creative ways of supporting. I wish we could do more. And if there are ideas that you all have around the kind of training that we might facilitate, even different kinds of training, virtual training, different private sector actors that we might partner with to enable more capacity for people to grow their own skill sets and certifications. So, you know, I wish we could do more of that. I do think that we are dependent upon a financial cycling. That does mean that I think we have to be creative around our talent development, realistic about the fact that we won't be able to keep all of our talent for all time. One of the things that I find great heart in is that care is a training ground for people for the broader sector and for broader change making. So I'm always amazed at the alumni that I meet around the world who have gone on to do incredibly important things, not just with care, but leading in the UN, leading in private sector, leading with other organizations. I go to a group of other CEOs here in the US, and, you know, the head of Mercy Corps worked for CARE as our COO. The head of Oxfam worked at CARE, Abby Maxson, many of you all know. There's a whole kind of group of leaders in the world that have been trained and through CARE. And then I take heart at how many people are come back to CARE and have had different experiences, but return back to CARE. So I hope we can always be a place that the best talent in the world wants to come to grow from, and to return to at different points. And, you know, if I think about organizations like, you know, McKinsey, for instance, a consulting firm, one of their tenets is to invest in their staff, knowing that they're going to go off and be leaders in the world. And so how do we do that in a way, and how do we keep some of those networks? And knowledge management is a big part of that. So how are we making sure that we're codifying the great knowledge that we have, so people in and out of care can build upon that as we go forward. In terms of, we have to make sure, and I look to you all to help us think about, how are we competitive in the marketplaces from a salary and compensation perspective? How are we embracing ways of ensuring that our team members can take care of themselves? I hope that next week you all will have some strategic, deep time for the work ahead with our meetings-free week. You know, how do we ensure that that people can both, and to the previous question, take care of themselves, take care of their families, and do their very best work at CARE? And I think that's also part of a retention strategy. So, and with that, I'll just invite anybody who has any great ideas to the questions that you all have posed to me. I hope you'll send me an email in the coming days, because I would love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle, for catering to all our questions. I'll hand over the microphone to Ramji now.
Thanks, Nusrat. Thank you, Michelle, for patiently answering these questions. We have come to the end of this session. Any thoughts to leave us with before we end this session? Any final thoughts from your side, Michelle?
I wish that I was there for the dancing and the singing and the celebration. I wish that I could join you all in person. Ram, we've talked about it's time for a new visit for me to Bangladesh. I hope that that can happen in the coming months or the next couple of years at minimum. And so I can be a part of this continued celebration of 75 years and drawing inspiration for our future. I am taking a lot of inspiration from just being a small part of this celebration from thousands of miles away. So I can only imagine what it's like to be there in the room. And again, I would just say, you all are the authors of CARE's future. I am a steward and I hope a supporter, but you all are at the front lines of writing the story of our future history. And so I hope that you'll be bold. I hope that you'll be creative. I hope that you'll be aspirational. I hope that you will take risks. And I hope that you will do everything you can to ensure that that we are a part of, of changing history for the good, both in Bangladesh and around the world. And I just wish you all good things and much gratitude for including me. And I celebrate with you today. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.